Go right if you'd like.
Oh, yeah. Let me think of something right. Because, I don't know. What are you guys thinking? Like, this is for Chester, or? Yeah?
We're just honoring his memory and honoring his presence and being here with him up to his first concert. I mean,
Yeah.
in this fucking amazing fucking building. I mean, look at this.
I know, I didn't even notice this here, and I pulled up by it, and I was like, whoa. Is that what they're talking about?
Spell your dad's name so I have it right.
Chester. Chester. Damn, we're at the intersection too. That's crazy. There's like 3 pathways right here.
Exactly.
This is energy.
Yeah. So, and you know what's so cute is I have a picture of this location when my sister and I were like this big standing on the stair right here.
Oh, that's so interesting. I love that.
Yeah, it's like pretty cool.
As soon as I saw this church, I was like, what the fuck? But like when I saw that tower, I'm like, yeah.
I don't even know what to say, man. Like,
Hey, just whatever comes out of your heart, just say, you know, I'm saying.
I just love my dad so much, and I think everybody around me knew that shit tonight.
Yeah.
I didn't take. Could you guys hear me from your section? No.
No.
I was loud as fuck. I was bothering everybody.
Word.
And then I realized that they actually all.
I don't think it was a
ended up just
bother.
Kind of being like, oh shit, this guy's awesome. You know. Somebody came up to me and they were like, hey, yo. I'm like, stop. This is my dad, I promise. And they're like, no, I follow you. And I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I went for your neck. It was really cool, but like, I don't know what to say because rest in peace sounds bogus. Because that's not peaceful. But I don't know. I love the guy a lot.
It is Serge and Michael. Someone said, is that Serge and Michael talking?
Yes.
Oh,
They
really?
just can recognize you. Yeah.
By your voice? Yeah. Here, I'll just start writing letters. Why not? Just let the hand go.
Hey guys, we have a very special moment here.
Sorry, we kind of just jump on and
I love
go
it.
at it.
I love it.
Should I just draw?
You can do
Maybe I don't want to speak in words.
anything.
Maybe I want to speak in heart.
Beautiful.
Or tell you something. I think words are on me right now. All right, look at that.
They did enjoy the show. They were going ham the whole time. I'm gonna just stay back here, support them, do their thing.
I think we should leave the space open and then y'all can start just drawing on it. Because it's not just me, you all shared this night with me. So we'll do one more good shape.
Yes, they are wonderful.
Just save a blank space anywhere. Who's next? You want to go next? All right. Want me to hold it?
Let's see what they're doing.
Jamie Bennington. I'm holding the phone real quick while Serge makes some art on my art.
This is just like a therapeutic release, really. Serge and Michael asked us to be here with them if we would like hold space,
There you go.
do a
Hey, I
little
like
something
that.
for Chester, just an acknowledgement.
All right. Who's next? Are you done? All right.
I have feelings on it, but Jamie had a great time.
Yeah, it was like an exorcism almost. That's
Yeah,
what
for
I keep saying.
real. You
Like over
were
there, like, kidding.
you were going home.
Your turn.
Yeah. I feel like there's so much to say.
You can speak it or feel it, whichever one you want. Or both.
I don't want to have to do any of them.
Okay.
Shouldn't have to be done.
It shouldn't have to be done. You're doing a great job.
How did you guys feel?
You know, we were there witnesses. We were
Yeah.
witnessing something that happened, and I could see so many people in our live streams were protesting for us, were saying all the right things, and you know, the awareness is out in the collective. The collective knows what's up,
You too now.
and it's a blessing. It's a full-blown blessing, really, when you think about it. Like,
Yeah, the awareness.
things happen for a reason. There was no way to get this level of awareness on the kids growing up in Scientology without this situation happening. And, you know, all I can think of is we're all telling Emily to come to a moment of integrity, to stand up on the side of truth, to open her eyes, to see things for what they are, and continue. You know, like, the past was the past, and there's always a chance for a new day, a new decision, a new choice. We're all now adults, and she can lead the way.
Yes. Be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
Take up your own cause and live in the
The
energy.
lyrics are there,
Yeah,
the poems are there, the music notes are there.
I agree.
So everything is there. Like, the only thing that's missing is the integrity to sing that so that it actually means what is being said.
Yeah,
Like-
I hope she does let the music transform.
Just like it come from a person who acknowledges those things. That's what I was thinking. Like, at one point, I was just like, damn, this would be so cool if they had come out, like,
That's nice.
even if she's out of it now, you know, and been like, well, I was going through this whole thing. I really so hard with this because we are in a system that fucking eats you alive, and I want to do something different and stand up for this. It's just,
Yeah. I see a lot
it
of
could be so cool.
I see a lot of potential for my dad to have an effect on me. And I hope that is
That's
a
what,
lot.
yeah, that's exactly right.
The more you're exposed to something, the more you understand it. And I think this is going to be a great opportunity to be exposed to Linkin Park's music, which has helped so many people heal. Healing's all that
I mean,
that is asked for.
I'm here having healed, having disassociated to his music. That's really what was going on, right? Like, that's how, that connection is what was missing with Emily. Like, and no shade on her, no shade on her performance, no shade on what she's doing. I get it. Like, she's on a stage and she's being vulnerable in that regard.
Yeah.
There's no shade there. It's just we're putting the facts in front of her and putting an awareness there, and it's so that she can change, so that she can do better. She can take informed decisions. Like, we know, like, the radicalization takes away informed decision. Like, you're not making a decision because of that. You're peer pressured into being something that you need to be in order for the group to accept you. And you know what? That's not good.
It doesn't change overnight, especially in that depth of a situation or
Absolutely.
something like that.
Yeah.
And with so many of them corrupting each other because they start shadowing each other, right? It's like
They start mirroring each
they
other.
start
Yeah.
getting in that same
Energy
reality.
for energy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just hope, like, I don't know. It's nice to see, like, you can always change as a person, you know? You can always grow as a person. You can acknowledge, like, oh man, I wasn't able to talk about that, but now I am or should, you know? Like, you have such a big platform now. It'd be great to see adults take the reins and talk about the way that things are and need to change.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in the industry. you're with those people.
It is industry.
And it's about making it okay for them to have an off-ramp of all of that dysfunction. It's not, we're not cannibals. We're not them. We're not going to do what they do when they leverage blackmail over people. This is not about leveraging blackmail. This is about, here's the facts. They're unconfrontable. They're very hard to swallow. You know, like nobody wants children to be abused. Nobody wants that. We talked about that. Like,
I agree.
The advocacy that we are doing right now is because we had no advocate saying those things when we were there. So we understand that we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice to shut up now, because if we do that, then who are we to have a problem with the fact that no one spoke up for us? Like, then we're just being like them.
Then we just don't. Then we don't do it.
Exactly.
That's not helpful. Well, I want to say too, real quick. You know, I hope the music definitely impacts Emily in a certain way, but also, like, I have to say, tonight was better than the last show. She did a lot better, and I actually cheered her on for a number of songs. There were some songs I didn't appreciate, but yeah, I'm actually kind of proud that they came back a little stronger. I have hope that the music does have its transformative effect, because it seems like she's getting in a groove with it, and she's got all these shows around the world to be with it and marinate in it, to ferment.
Such a good chance to advocate.
Yeah.
How you said.
It's not about hate.
Being the change. Like, we all went through like really traumatic shit as kids, and just like in life in general right now is crazy. But how can you be quiet? It says a lot if you're quiet currently.
Well,
in a position of power.
And that's what we need to raise the awareness about. It's like if you are quiet, then you are being complicit and you're being part of the problem. Do you want to be part of the problem? Because maybe you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to be part of the problem. You know, there's a choice to not be part of the problem.
Yep.
And that's all it takes, right? It's like, okay, I'm not going to be part of that problem anymore. I'm going to make different adult choices. And you know, we are extending compassion. We're extending grace for her to have that realization. We'll continue to advocate, you know, but it's not an attack. As much as they try to frame this an attack and this and that, they're projecting whatever it is that they need to project, because they don't want to change.
Literally how we said that, the people who were talking about Jamie in the news, they're like, Jamie Bennington starting a war with like Shinoda. And it's like, no,
it's not what happened.
Like, hey, let's acknowledge at the root of this, you guys can do whatever you want, but you did hire someone who has links to Scientology, and conversations could be had on that, especially because Chester did not advocate for any of this type of shit, and they dealt with mental health. Like, let's talk about it. Like, it's such a great chance. How can you not take the opportunity?
And really
to talk
also
about
calling out the corporate media, because they love creating this level of controversy, and this one's warring with this one, and let's all have an opinion about it. And that's exploitative. They've been exploiting all of our trauma to make money for themselves, writing piece of shit articles that are worth nothing.
Like telling people I went to war with Mike Shinoda instead of just expressing the fact that I expressed my feelings on the matter and brought evidence to the table.
Also, they're like, oh, Jamie Bennington comes out, and it's like, you've been critiquing industry.
They just haven't cared. It hasn't been trending, and they're just all about, they need to grow a spine. They're reporters, they're the press, they're supposed to hold people accountable so they don't deviate and go crazy.
Journalistic integrity.
Correct. I mean, it's like
Humanity.
there's supposed to be a balance there, but it's not getting called out because they're glib about everything, and they're just so profit oriented that they don't give an F about what the story is. They're just, this war with this one, let's pin them, let's talk about it for 8 months, then let's all forget it and move to the next thing.
That's what we've been like so upset about. We're like, we know once they're out and doing their thing, everyone's gonna be like, Mike won, haha. And it's like, no guys, like, this is a real thing here. It's not a win or lose. It shouldn't be. It could just be a conversation.
What are we running away from, Mother Universe?
But
I don't know.
I'm glad you guys are part of the conversation. We're glad we found you guys and that we're able to help.
Well, and I mean, again, what got us here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just got louder.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that?
The conversation just got louder.
you got your voice, their voice.
Yeah.
Oh, and people got videos and photos of me, and some people are asking here, like, they hope nobody interacted with me in a bad way. They didn't. I got interacted with in the best way. I had like people. Well, here, I guess I had people coming up to me, and I was just laughing with them about it because somebody came up to me and they were like, "Hey, you." I was like, "Dude, I'm just doing my thing. This is my dad." And they're like, "No, I follow you." And I like, it was just so weird. I didn't expect that, and I was throwing things at Mike because he was using my words against me on stage. He knew I was there, and the people just started being like, "Yeah, talk to him."
Yeah, they were supportive.
Can't wait for that stuff to,
Even if it was a snarky way, it still meant something. It was nice.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I'll be sharing them later. But right now we're celebrating the person who's not here with us right now and what they advocated for, and the people who have been victims of the things that they advocated for that they didn't get to live very long in advocating for, because who knows why.
Also, just like the people they were able to help, like you, who said you listened to him, and it helped you through crazy times, like unimaginable times. Like
This moment, I mean, this moment, that's what it calls for, right? It's like we were brought here from that connection, from that authenticity, from that pain that we all recognize, that was turned into beauty. I mean, his voice is so soothing, right? It's like that's so paradoxical, like someone that went through so much pain. Well, yeah, but he's got he does the screaming, but he does the non-screaming.
That's right. Yeah, it's all heavy. Yeah,
and the soothing is so soothing, right? It's like, it's so, like, when you listen to it, it's just you.
When I listen to The Messenger, he's screaming, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like my dad talking to me, which is really cool. I think that's cool that such an artist can do such a thing, and it really is amazing, you know, that it's really him.
It feels so weird to be holding phones and recording, but at the same time, like, it's good to capture, you know?
It's so, you know what, it's such an incredible tool in today's time to show the reality and the integrity of life.
St. John versus the church. I mean, this is a religious experience. You know what I mean? Like, when life brings you this, and you're like, wait, how are we here, right? Like, we're not here because someone told us, forced us. We're not here to. We're just here holding space for a moment in time that is a miracle.
Oh, it's totally religious. That's why I was telling everybody that I was going through an exorcism.
Mike said a couple things.
That was
That's not
losing my shit. People were like confused about it. Like, I don't know how to take this.
Right now is about Chester.
But, you know, like, it was really hard to go through what I went through. And it's really cathartic, very much so, to be able to dance it out and scream it out and throw the middle finger when somebody says something that's not cool, but support them and celebrate them when they're actually doing a good job. Like I said, I'm yelling, Emily, good job. People think I'm being sarcastic at the moment because I just spent a moment going, fuck yeah. But really, in reality, I'm like, no, she did a good job, though. She really did a good job. The guys really did a good job. But then there were moments, it's like, I can't really be sad that Mike hit himself in the face with his own mic stand.
Oh, yeah,
I can't be sad about that. But I can be understanding of the art at the same time, right? And I'm kind of, honestly, after that, I'm kind of excited to see the new album in a weird way, because I want to observe what Emily is bringing to the band, because we were talking about how the Emptiness Machine could stand in for Scientology or act as a diss track or whatever it is, because I see myself in it, but I also see the greater challenge in it that we're all facing here right now.
No, I did not say anything about Jimmy.
I just feel like I'm interested to see what they think they're going to do with music, because if they're really talking about something, like in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I really, really hope that this album, the reason they're being so cagey about everything is because if they say anything too soon, they could get stopped.
I wish they addressed them.
What they're really doing is saying something serious and healing and doing all the good stuff. And I understand needing to mask some of that because of the seriousness of the situation. I mean, after all, I did have to get law enforcement involved so I could be at the show because I was threatened.
Literally.
But, you know, there is such a thing as saying too much too soon. And there is a need to garner, like, massive, I guess, visibility for this band right now, because they have the opportunity to bring something to the table that could heal even more people and be authentic. But they may not be able to say that right now. They may not be able to say that for a lot of reasons. On the other side, they could really just be fucking off and making money on it. And that's it. I'm an optimist.
But this is where we help them too. We have to out the handlers. It's the handlers that are the vampires, sucking their blood, sucking their integrity, sucking their choices, forcing them into these moronic, ridiculous pyramid schemes. Oh, you really are the top. You really are this. You really are special. You really are that. Yeah. And they're just really suffocating the artists, and all behind the scenes. You never know who these people are. You never even hear about them. These are all behind the scene, corrupt, disgusting people taking advantage of vulnerable artists, right? Because you see them when they're in their element,
Yeah.
they're being just an artist.
I mean, I grew up in the record industry. I grew up in Linkin Park, so I do understand.
Yeah,
and that's part of what I've been doing is just communicating about that handling. It's the understanding of the way in which having techniques to gain influence from his audience. Like today, he literally used my words against me on stage, and he turned away from me to do that. That's insane.
Yeah,
but like, that needs to be addressed. There are so many things that need to be addressed. It's like, why wait for the PR for the album to drop when you're going on tour? Doesn't that seem a bit...
Well, but here's the other thing, right? It's like you cannot control what he does. You can
Right.
only control what you do.
Right.
And you have to let go of... He's going to behave in whatever way.
Oh, I saw
we
it.
have...
He's going to do what he
all
wants.
we have is the facts. They have to be stated. They have to be communicated. We have to... And that's it, right? It's like eventually they'll make a different choice. Maybe. You know?
Yeah, like I said,
It's
they could be using this as an opportunity to gain influence so that they can then open up the Pandora's box and help
We're not here
everyone.
to tell them how to live their life, but we're going to highlight aspects of the situation that are affecting the collective based on that influence that they're having. And that's why it matters that Emily figures out and comes clean about her past. It's not to demonize her, to say, you didn't do this to yourself. Like, you didn't choose to be
I
in
didn't
this.
choose this.
We didn't choose. Like, children don't choose to be abused. Let's just make sure that's clear. Like, that's why the advocacy is needed, right? Because we know what things in our past contributed to the fact that we were in these abusive situations, and no one knew how to even care about rescuing us from something that no one is advocating
Or even
for.
you don't even know what the problem is after so long. Because you've been in it for so long, you might think that things that are totally weird to other people are normal.
They put a bunch of
going back
fake
to the
situations.
grooming, right?
That's the whole
Grooming,
purpose
yeah.
of grooming is making something regular. It's taking something irregular, stressful, and maybe even inappropriate and turning it into something that is appropriate,
And making you feel like that's
alleviates
you,
stress.
like you had a part in it.
Right.
It's like, no, you didn't have a part. We didn't consent to be abused. That's the problem. That's the wound,
Yeah.
right? Like the wound is enforced something on an age
Yeah.
that we couldn't understand what the ramifications of it was.
And I think there's a big point to be made that at least Emily in her situation, she is a victim. She is a victim. She's not just some random. Well, she has and that's the thing is like as a victim with a lot of power. We know the family connections a little bit. At least I know a little bit because I've been researching and following along with the articles. But the things that are being reported on, but also I'm skeptical because the person she's related to controls what is in the media for that specific thing. So it's like, I don't really know if even what they're saying is true about Emily. What is true about Emily is that they are a victim like us.
Like us.
Yes.
Yes.
As a collective.
Yes.
And that's why it's important to say something when you see something. This isn't war. I mean, certainly things can get out of control, but this is more importantly about saying something when you see something. I'm not saying Emily's a terrible singer. She should, lose the band and lose her career. That came out after that are even more shocking. And no, there needs to be a moment where you sit down and you say something because you owe that to one, a fan base you're assimilating, and two, to the victims that you represent now. Because that's what you did. You entered into a band in a position where you are now the advocate. You are now the one who has power and say in the situation. You have a choice now to act as a leader and act with integrity, like Serge said, or you have the opportunity to take advantage. And yes, those are things that are easier said than done, but that's the point of helping yourself and, expanding your consciousness, finding healthy coping mechanisms, understanding yourself, because a lot of the time when you're a victim, your self-identity, your experience is stripped away from you. And so you don't have that. You say, who are you? I thought my entire life I was Chester Bennington. It took me forever to get rid of that ghost, and not because I chose that. It's because everybody I knew would come up to me and go, "Oh, your dad." No matter what, even if I told them my name. I've had a musical career a decade long, and nobody knows my name. When I show music, they're like, "I don't even care," and it's like, well, but you care about Paper Cut. That was crazy. Watching some of these people lose their minds over songs from 2000 is like, so you were a child then, and you don't see anything wrong with this? There we go, back to the point. You can see things that are not cool after a while of being abused and think that they're totally fine. And I said that in the concert. I was standing there and I was like, oh, you guys are all okay with this. You guys are all okay with the way they're doing this. He literally called all of you, Chester, had you all sing the song to him and praise him for being on stage, as if Chester was saying thank you. That's unacceptable. Did he mean to do it that way? We don't know, because Mike doesn't really tell the truth. But he could. He could. A couple of people.
There's a car here.
They
I'm
might
just
be waiting for somebody.
recording for safety reasons.
You guys, I wanted to point something out.
Yeah.
Look at the candles and look at the one in the center.
It's really
the
dim, huh?
battery powered candles that are going out.
Well, it's like you've got all the lightness around the one.
Love it.
Yeah. It's like one more light. It's going out, but not really.
Not really. No, it's still there.
Yeah, you can still see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
You can help that light if you want to.
Also, that's a big thing, like what you guys were saying, like even if they can't say something, let's say the record label won't let them, or their cult won't let them, or because they escaped they feel they can't say certain things, like okay then we can do that. We feel that enough to feel like that's something we need to do for ourselves, to be the advocates we needed, then let us do that. What's the harm in that? What's the harm in Jamie being in their room talking about their feelings? You
Literally,
know,
that's what I do.
everyone being like, "Die, Jamie, die!" And it's
How
like,
much of our feelings did we have to swallow through that abusive childhood? And I mean, that's the only reconciliation in this. It's like when we were children, we weren't allowed to say a feeling, otherwise we were getting attacked.
Or you could say a feeling, but only a certain feeling.
it's crazy too, because even in therapy, they're like, advocate for yourself, be your voice, communicate, talk to people about it, and we're like, we are. Like,
Literally.
someone was talking to me, I was talking to them, I was like, I'm going through it so hard, and they're like, Bella, maybe you just need to talk, maybe you just need to share that with the person who's doing that. I was like, I have, and that's the problem, is that now I'm bad because I'm talking and I'm sharing my feeling and advocating for myself, and that's disrespectful or threatening. I was like,
But you
how
know,
is my feeling threatening? We can just talk it through. If you didn't mean that, you didn't mean it. And that's all
and
you
our
can say.
power is the ability to prosecute the facts and expose the truth.
Mhm.
Some power that we didn't have as kids. We didn't know. We had no compass, right? It's like the reality created by all of these vultures.
Yeah,
You're
that's a good
clean
word.
slate
It's
and they're
just-
writing shit on you.
You're just there. You're just a pawn in a scheme, and you just like, and you think you consented to be part of that scheme.
G made that mask on their own.
We didn't.
They crocheted
we
it.
didn't consent.
It's really cool, huh?
And that's, you know, but to be on the flip side, we realize that's even like a privilege to be a victim that was abused that way and then live to tell.
Absolutely.
Like that's what gives hope to others, right? Like the fact that Chester went through all of that and then he was singing and then he was still figuring out how to alchemize all that pain and through that helping us figure out our shit. I mean, that was the connection that we had with him, and I mean that's the disconnection that we have with Emily, because she's not dealing with her pain, she's not dealing with her childhood, she's not being transparent about it, she's, you know, giving what they tell you in Scientology is a short story, and you know, you cannot be teaching children to speak in sanitized ways for the benefit of the adults that are trying to continue their scheme without being called out. That's what is coming down to this point. Like, no, it's a scheme. We see it. The law says it's illegal. The law's on our side. The law's not on Emily's side, on Emily's mom's side.
Oh, it's supposed to be neutral.
Well, no, but the law's
Yeah.
not that neutral, right? It tells
No,
you,
not at
no,
all.
You do this. If you break this boundary, then you're gonna get removed from society. That's what the law says. If you child traffic kids, then you're gonna be nabbed and you're gonna be put in a jail.
Yeah.
You cannot be trusted. So that's the law. The law's not neutral. The law's like, if you go here,
Yeah.
this is what happens.
We're advocating for that to be held. And
That's
to
what
actually happen.
we're calling under equal treatment under the law, right? Like, we know if we F up something as adults today, we cannot be, well, I was traumatized as a child. No, it doesn't work like that. We don't care you're traumatized. It says here that you can do A, B, C, and you did it, and we have the evidence, then you know what? Come with me. Here's the handcuffs. You don't have freedom. That's what it's called. And then that sends a message to other vultures and abusers, so they think twice. They're like, oh, look, I saw consequences there. Legal consequences. Now we're getting to the right place, right?
I think that's a big thing too, of like advocating for like again, how we said, communication, but also like helping you process how society has brainwashed you and made you feel like you have to be a certain way and you can't say certain things, and we have to point everyone else out who's doing it and tell them, oh, get this guy, instead of being like, hey, this guy's still in the brainwash, let's help him through it, you know, like, let's be a part of the process for a change. Like, what's it called? Reformation rather than like a radicalization. And like, don't throw you in the hole because you said something I don't like. I'll talk you through that. Or like, yeah, some people do need to be put away for a second and be like, okay, let's relearn this thing, help you out here. Bring humanity back into your awareness rather than corporation, profit.
Turn the page, you know, it's like how many years are all of these disgusting things going on? Just because, again, the children do not have the capacity to advocate for themselves. They are owed advocates. This is something you owe to the children. They're literally owed that. They're there. You need to have adults thinking, what, as an adult brain, put yourself in the child's shoes. What are you doing? Are they going to damage that child? Yes or no? And in Scientology, they were damaging us, locking us up, kidnapping us, telling us that we're getting helped spiritually by being put into these bondage situations that are just indefensible. The power dynamics are indefensible. That's
I
common
agree.
sense. That's not your opinion, my opinion. Anyone that has any shred of humanity can see a child, and if the power dynamic imbalance is wrong, then everyone should be able to say, no, that's not okay.
Can I clarify my neutral comment? Because I even see some people here. Here, can you hold a second? Talk to the people who are asking. So some people are like, the law is not neutral, and I agree. That's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say was that as someone in the law, you're supposed to be treated on an evidence basis. Sure. It's supposed to be neutral to you. The law says you can't do this, you can't do that, or you can do this, you can do that. What I mean is that it should be a matter of integrity, it should be a matter of honesty, but it's not. So it's supposed to be neutral in the sense that it's supposed to kind of like fit the situation. But rarely does that happen, in my opinion. I myself have been a victim of the law. And it's just a shitty situation to be in. It's
well,
like,
the law can be weaponized, right?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
the law
exactly.
can be weaponized. It can be used to do that. But again, it's like
It was against Jamie.
when you are the witness of the crime, you can stand on your testimony, right? Like, I can call them child traffickers because they trafficked me, because they locked up my passport, because they brought me from another country and locked me up in a hotel. I don't need the law to agree with me. Fuck the law. Like, y'all are the ones that are behind the curveball, like, for decades, right? It's like, that's what it's called. Like, that's our power. That's what this moment calls. Like, we don't need the permission of anyone to know what we saw. We saw what we saw. We were exposed to it. We shouldn't have been. You should have just left us as fucking kids doing our kids' shit. And then whatever, right? But it's like, we saw what we saw. So now we will speak from that point of integrity to call it out and force the law to do its job. Yes, equal treatment under the law, but when we already saw it, we don't need to be asking for permission from some lawyer.
I've been talking to people like that all the time, because there's a lot of people who will come to me and be like, and who asked you, or whatever. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm literally just talking about my feelings. I'm literally bringing evidence to the table. There are people who will still come to me and tell me I haven't delivered a single bit of evidence about what I've talked about. And it's like, okay, so I only matter if you make me matter. There are a lot of people who will come up to me and be like, Jamie, nobody gives a fuck about your problems. And it's like, okay, why? And they're like, because you don't make sense to me. And it's like, okay, so I don't make sense to you, and now I don't exist.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Phenomenal.
was.
Thank you so much for the help. Thank you so much for the understanding. And then more often than not online, what I've seen is that will snowball, and it will, like, other people who want to say it, one, they'll just say it, but two, they'll also feel comfortable saying it. I have repeat offenders who come all the time.
And Jamie, don't forget, going back to Emily's mother, who is a publicist. That's what she did in Scientology. She's an editor, she's a publicist, she's a spinner. This woman is very aware of the facts, very aware of the law, very aware that she is unhinged AF. She's not aware.
Everybody knows.
She's not aware.
When you do a thing, you know what you're doing. That's the thing, is like, when it comes to abusive relationships, when somebody's doing something to you and then they go, no, not really, I didn't know. Yes, they did. They knew what they were doing when they told you the thing. They know what they were doing when they said X, Y, and Z to you. They knew what they were doing when they locked you in the room. They know what they did when they took
When
all
you
your
say,
shit away.
"Hey, I
They
can't
know what
handle
they
this
know.
anymore," and they continue to
and
do
then
it.
keep pushing you until you
Ugh.
break and then call you crazy.
Horrible.
Yes, that happens all the time.
So, what does she use in order to attack? It's like they go smear campaign, they go project,
Create a narrative so you can
create
control it.
fake narratives, everything else.
Bring up
to-
evidence,
don't know
create
the white
context through which new evidence can arise in your favor. It's not
So
just a
we
story.
are not the
They
problem.
drove
We are
off.
not the problem. We are
Yeah.
your problem,
Yes.
Gail.
There
We
you
are
go.
your problem because
Yeah.
we will call you out. We are not kids that you can bamboozle anymore. We're not
Also, guys,
naive. We're
we're
not
unsafe
gullible.
anywhere.
F that.
Yeah, fuck
The
that.
people
Come for your
who
head because you've been abusing
are big
kids
know
with
where we
impunity.
live.
And it's literally
They
all
control
evidence-based.
this
That's it. Like,
social
how are you
media
going to ignore
platform.
the evidence?
They run
It's
the
all
country.
there. It's
You're
documents,
not
it's
safe.
testimony.
We're
when
not
we
safe
talk about
anywhere.
Scientology, okay,
When
when we
we're
talk about
talking about these
Scientology,
things,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
L. Ron Hubbard had policies. These policies are followed blindly. The policies are the receipts. That is the full-blown
Of course,
evidence.
because you have to do the thing.
So
Everybody
it's like-
does it. So what are the names of the people who follow the rules? There you go, you did it.
There's situations where, with victims that it's like very hard to prove because yes, they scramble everything and nobody knows, right?
Okay.
And then 30 years later you can just sound crazy because there's no
Yeah.
way to. In Scientology they do the opposite. They record it all, they video record it, they transcribe it all. So they're highly aware. So
Thank you, I
that's why
appreciate
this
that.
group is so easy to
I love this
to call
baklava
out
as well.
because they know they're recording, they know they're transcribing, they know they're keeping receipts on themselves.
Yeah, how does that feel to know that there for you? To know that there's an archive of testimonies by people who have wronged you and so many other people that the law doesn't have access to. And they won't access it because
Horrible.
it's a tax exempt corporation, billions of dollars. It's a religion. Sorry, it's a religion. My bad. It's not.
Well,
it's not a nonprofit.
I'll tell you what it is, Jimmy. It's a child trafficking ring aided and abetted by the IRS. Because a lot of people go, oh, well, the IRS is so clueless.
Hey.
They're over there in their little building,
Yeah.
punching numbers. BS.
BS.
Scientology, every Scientologist sends the IRS their tax write-offs. Oh, I paid $1 million to the hotel.
Yeah.
That $1 million laundered self-admitted felonies, including but not limited. Do you see what I'm saying? So
I
it's
do.
like,
Yeah, I see
and
it.
and the
I see it.
questionnaires in Scientology are: have you ever committed a felony for which you have not been arrested? So it's not meandering questions. It's not watered down. It's like they are
It's an
looking
interview.
for the
Right.
blackmail. So that they can really have the full control over the person.
Yeah, I see that.
And that's what we're outing. And the IRS is up to their neck and ears in complicity with this trafficking
Well,
operation.
and this brings it back to even center on Chester for this moment because who was the one to sign off on this? The Clinton administration. That's a fact. Who was Chester around when he passed? The Clintons. It's a fact. There's a picture of him with Bill. What are you going to do? Lie about it? Say it's not real? You're going to have me look at it and go, no, that's not what that is. It's literally right there. They were in Haiti together. Strange. Nobody wants to talk about that. And there are so many things around Chester that aren't acknowledged, like that thing. The fact that we're all here under multiple connecting circumstances. You escaped Scientology. The Clintons allowed it to happen. My father was around those people. Period. That's just what it is. That is a truth. It is part of a massive truth. And it's only one part, but it is the truth.
Yeah, well, John Travolta was used to literally sweet talk Bill Clinton. He played him in a movie, and he gave them
Wait, what movie?
John Travolta played him in a movie. Yeah, he played Bill Clinton in a movie, and he made a more favorable impression of Bill Clinton. Yeah, Google it. I forget the name of the movie.
I don't
but-
have it. We're using for live stream, but I'll look at that.
Yeah,
'Cause I didn't know he would play. I can't see him as Bill. I can't see John Travolta's face as Bill Clinton.
I mean, John Travolta went to Congress and was literally complaining that in Germany, where they did smell the rat of the cult, given that they are very highly aware of how extremism can ruin an entire country, just one book is all it took.
How American.
Right? There's just one book is all it took. And going back to the concept of L. Ron Hubbard, one book is all it took to radicalize an incredible amount of people that signed up for it. Like every Nazi that committed atrocities,
They cannot go, I was told.
Yeah, they can't go, oh, I didn't know I was like killing every single person on that list.
They
I
were
didn't
writing
know
it
that."
down. They were keeping meticulous records, very
Exactly,
much like
'cause they wanted
Scientology.
to-
It's like
they wanted all of them gone.
And you know, the more they do the records, that's what sanitizes the abomination, because they do it so meticulously. Records.
I like the Nazi
crazy.
reference because, or the comparison, because they also burned knowledge, and then they kept their own archive of knowledge that they considered to be superior to the knowledge that the people created, which is what society is for. Community is for that. Everybody brings their perspectives and their expertise and their love for life together. They share that art. They share that literature. They do X, Y, and Z. But again, to bring it back to Nazis, it's like, yeah, that was something that happened. The Nazi Party burned the art. They burned the understanding. And they did that on purpose so they could control the narrative and create circumstance through which new evidence in support of themselves could arise, because that is the truth now. And that's something that happens here all the time. And it happens in the media, which brings us back to the media conversation. Again, somebody said I was going to war with Mike Shinoda. That's not what I said.
It's also crazy they don't want you to acknowledge any of this. How you're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're keeping record of everything. They keep doing this. How we said the Nazis looks like just like Scientology. But if you point out the similarities, then you're a conspiracy theorist. If you point out the similarities and a bunch of things, then you're crazy
Anytime I
and
draw
don't
a
know how to
correlation
just.
in real life and I bring evidence to the table, people will tell me that I did not. It doesn't mean anything.
Or
The first
get
time
mental
That they don't
health so
see
you
it,
don't
or
share
I'm
your
crazy,
perspective.
or-
the first time I spoke out against Scientology with ABC News 2020, guess what they called the segment? Scientology, a war without guns.
That's interesting.
So the war narrative, the conflict narrative is something that they're exploiting. They're putting this side against this side. They play, we're so neutral, and that is just completely ridiculous. Like, they've been playing dumb is what the media does. We don't know. We really report only on evidence. You know, in Scientology, they did teach us as kids to investigate. So when you are investigating, you really need to become familiar with what you're investigating, so you can really pull the string, and really get to the bottom of things, right? The media never does that. They don't want to get to the bottom. They
No,
just,
that's not the
what do
that's
you
not
want to
the point.
say? What do you want to say? They're having a problem. Let's write about it.
I mean, look at the
What'll
way they
get the
covered...
most views?
Say it. You were saying something?
No, just
Oh,
what'll
I'm
get the
sorry.
most views. What's the title that's going to grab people?
No, for real. It's all about spectacle. It's all about grabbing the most attention. And it's even about, I want to say, you know, a really good example of the way that the media does not care to actually get to the bottom of things, and it's
Yeah,
really
the
more about
correct.
narrative control than it is about truth, is the way in which my father's death was reported. They didn't report shit. They didn't talk about the incident report. They didn't talk about the autopsy. They didn't talk about the
Who changed the ride?
who changed the... Yeah, and you know what's crazy is, like, Linkin Park's management has ignored me the same way they ignored the conversation around Chester. Who changed the ride share? Answer the goddamn question. It took 7 years. You guys really can't answer it yet? You guys really can't tell us what Linkin Park was doing the day Chester died? You really can't. It's really that private. It's that private because you were either going to show up and for a photo shoot and you were going to put it on the internet, or you were going to do an insurance commercial and you were going to be on TV. So how private can it possibly fucking be? You know what I mean? It's very frustrating to see certain things reported and other things not reported, or to see, like, I had people taking my words even though I wrote them out, reporting on me all over the planet these last 2 days, which is amazing, by the way. Thank you for that. Just keep the fucking words straight. Don't put words in my mouth. I wrote it out for you. I have people reporting on things I wrote out, saying it different than the way it's written out in the picture that follows the blurb about what I wrote.
It's also then to
What
think
is that
like,
shit? That's nonsense.
how are you supposed to think that didn't happen to Chester when multiple people are accounting out of familial aspect that he wasn't allowed to act a certain way, he wasn't allowed to say certain things,
wasn't.
and you know you're not. You know, when you're one of their faces, you have to act how they want you
Well,
to. And then they're like, see, but
fuck.
he said this. I was like, but you
other
told them to
thoughts.
say that. Just how you were saying, like, keeping records of things. They create false records so that they're like, oh, but look at that.
The dirtiest, most disgusting rats in the whole wide world, I'll tell you, is the publicists, the PR people that spin. Everything is spin. Everything is protect the image, protect the brand, create a lie, create, you know, with what you were saying about your father's investigation, and this is what they call in Scientology, omitted data. That's how you derail an investigation.
Yeah.
By omitting, and then just putting the one fact that you want. So that
Exactly,
you
yeah.
only
Choose
have
the parts that you
access
like.
to this, right? And
Leave out the rest.
correct. And that's
Leave out the
not
rest.
that's not investigation. That is not investigation. That's not getting up to the bottom of nothing. That is resolving
Well,
nothing.
we'll think about it. What is the point of investigation? What's the point of reporting? The point of reporting is to find something that you think is valuable to talk about, and then talk about it. How the fuck are you going to talk about it if 50% of what you think about it isn't included in your thoughts on it? How are you going to talk about something when you don't talk about it? And that's a real fucking thing. Today, Mike played, today he stopped the show and he had flipped around on stage. He knew where I was sitting. He flipped around on stage and he had the gall to use my words against me. He had the gall to use my words against me twice. And one of the things he said was, you know, when we released that, what's that one album? We released a couple songs. What was that? You know, we called it Paper Cuts. It was like 10 more words. And I went, you said greatest hits album, Mike. You said greatest hits. And he ignored me. I don't even know if he could hear me. I imagine I'm pretty fucking loud though, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being salty about it. And then he went and said, you know, there was an album that we didn't include, right? Like we didn't include any songs from it. It was called The Hunting Party. I just fucking said that shit. I just called you out for that in my live streams. I said, you did not play 2 albums. What was it? One More Light? The Hunting Party. You only played 1 song off of Living Things during that initial fucking performance. And you know what's crazy is that I'm pretty sure there were a couple of publicists in the crowd, because I'm pretty sure he was talking on record to certain people so that the idea that he was sweeping or wiping away or erase it, this idea of erasure, he wanted to erase the idea of erasure. And that's fucking crazy. I think that that's an insane thing to do when you know that the kid of the person you're talking about is in the crowd and he's not happy with you. You ignored him, blocked him, restricted them. You refuse to acknowledge any of your victims in your fan base because now that's what they are. You had me sing as my father. You're insane. When I heard that, I wasn't even gonna say anything. And then when he said that part, like I was just gonna razz him. I was just gonna be really into the show and just like high energy. But then he said the same thing he said on that fucking LPU show. He said, you are all standing in for Chester right now. And I went, that's fucked. That is insane right now that you just said that. Because you're taking all these people who have histories with abuse. They are victims of very serious things, a variety, a spectrum of things. And you're using what you know is an abusive tactic to garner their attention, and they fucking ate it up.
Or something that you didn't like.
A lot of people ate that shit up. Well, it's kind of
because it's using charisma,
strange.
right? Going back to the PR, it's all a PR glossy. It's using PR. It's using an image. It's creating this persona that's very likable. That's very this and that's very that, and their whole entire brand and their money depends on it. And again, it's like
these people depend on mental energy, which is at its fundamental emotional energy. Yeah. You feel the way you think.
The first guy who said, I came out to make you guys angry. Did I do it? And I was like, angry? Came on stage, grandkid or whatever. I'm not trying to be rude. I get it. I think it's, grandson. There you go. And they had great energy, by the way. I'm going to say grandson was fun. Grandson, I don't know their music. It disheartened me to hear that they were mentored by Mike Shinoda, considering my situation. It was hard to hear that he was on post-traumatic, because that is also a sore subject for me. But like, in reality, the band did a really good job, so congratulations. This isn't a diss on you, I promise. But the line when he came on stage after a few songs, and he was on stage all the time, but after a few songs, he was like, yeah, so what, fuck, I don't even remember the words. He said something about like, now that we've gotten the anger something out there, like, are you guys ready for Linkin Park? And I was like, anger? What fucking anger? You guys are trying to you're trying to incite emotions. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get people in their emotional place so that they interact with the show, because you want them emotional with the music. That's why people like it, because they're emotional about the music. Or you're allowed to release, but it was crazy because all these things are so vocal and so expressive. You know, that's why people like the song. That's why they like the band. But then you are emotional and expressive, and they're like, get help, you're crazy. And it's like, just let me feel it. Let me express. Let me be it. What, do I need to be on stage and making millions off of you guys in order to be able to express? I should be able to do that as a living person in this kind of society.
It was crazy
It's
to see
insane.
grandson on stage saying things that I'm saying out loud, encouraging me to be the way I am,
Yeah.
and then bring Mike on stage like he's not doing the exact opposite and acting as my abuser in the situation.
And like blocking you and not
Insane.
answering any questions.
Nobody
It is
has questions for
insane.
Anna. Nobody wants to ask her why we fell out. Nobody has questions for Mike, why he's ignoring me or
I'm sure everyone has a
me.
different
I mean,
perspective.
Chet's talking
It's
about
crazy.
Chester saved so many lives.
For
and
real.
It will never be forgotten.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're celebrating.
That's
you
what we're
guys.
celebrating.
We're
Yeah.
celebrating that fact. We're celebrating lives saved, people helped, people emotionally nourished.
Yeah,
You
they-
know, that's emotional nourishment is what trauma victims need, right? It's like you nourish that emotion and then you feel a certain type of way that you couldn't feel before because you were so numb by all the horrible stuff. You have to replace that shit. You have to dig it out of your soul.
And we're only here because Chester was that face for people. He did express. He was loud. He was in your face about, I don't give a fuck if you don't want me to feel this. I'm going to feel it. You're doing something shitty and I'm going to tell you, you know? That's exactly what we're here doing. And it's great to see you guys doing it,
Yeah,
honestly.
for
Like,
real. We
I
literally
just
watched
really-
your video like 2 days ago on our way here, and then when I didn't realize the name, and then when I called you, I was like, I know that guy's voice. That's awesome. This is amazing that we're here right now, and I would love to meet you. And we did, and it was awesome.
Again, yeah, just we're only here because
I love
Chester
you,
did
Dad.
what they did, and we're so
We love
vocal
you,
and
Chester.
advocated.
Thank you for always being with us. I get chills. Oh my god.
I love you so much, and I represented tonight, and the crowd agreed. So you know, you're not. You
We
didn't.
love
this
you.
is not
You're
in vain.
missed. but
Yes,
you-
we are
but you
seeking
felt.
attention
You're
on
still in our
issues
lives.
that matter.
You're still in our lives. Like your physical
is
body's
true.
not here, but you're still in our lives, and you become even more. I mean, even more significant.
And it's not to detract from what you're saying. I'm saying like this isn't over. I'm here. I'm here to stay, man. I'm standing on truth. I'm standing on business right now.
The band in the
Facts.
Apple interview said they were building off of what Chester did.
Exactly.
So here's us building off of that.
Yeah.
And it can be
in spirit
beautiful.
of Lincoln Park, I build off of what Chester built too. I love you, Dad. I'll always be here for you, no matter what.
They can do it providing the space for people to express in concert, and you can do it providing space for people to communicate and advocate for what they believe
Absolutely. Thank you for this.
in. All of us can matter and have space.
Thank you for celebrating Chester's legacy with us. Thank you for holding space for Chester's son to speak his truth unabashedly and without fear.
Your thing's about to die anyway.
Yeah, the phone's about to die, guys. I think we're going to cut it. But listen, I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me around this proverbial campfire. It means so much to me that you've chosen to take the time out of your day to be present.
Oh, I finally got it?
Enjoy
I hope you have a nice evening.
the rest
I did.
of your night.
I loved
love you
it.
guys so much.
Every second of the show. I probably went harder than the people on stage. I was really, really, really getting Chester out. It was amazing.